The story of redemption. Genesis 22, verses 1 through 19. So if you guys remember this story, we're coming into this time now where God is going to test Abram. And all before this happens, we hear the covenant that God makes with Abram, this promise that God makes with Abram, that he's going to bless the nations, the world through Abram. And he's going to do it through this son, this child of promise that he's going to give to him. And so Abram finally gets this son Isaac, this child of promise, this child of hope. And what do you know? God's going to ask Abram to kill this son. Now that Abram finally has this son who he's waited for a long time, God asks him to take his son to the place that God will show him. And that when he gets to that place, God is going to ask him to demonstrate his faithfulness, to demonstrate his obedience, to demonstrate his trust and devotion to God by killing his son. This child whom he's waited for, his only son, the son whom he loves. And the crazy thing is that Abram obeyed. He made preparations to go. He left and brought his servants and his son Isaac with him towards the place where God was showing him, into the land of Moriah. And the journey wasn't a short one, it was a long one. It was 3 days long. Think about how horrible that might have been when Abram set out from where he was, with each step and each day getting closer and closer to this mountain where God was calling him to go, the place that he was showing him that he would have to sacrifice his only son. And with every step, and as that mountain became bigger and bigger, the reality of what God was calling him to do would just sink in and hit home more and more. You got to think that every single morning and every single evening, this mountain that was off in the distance would get bigger and bigger and would just loom in the silence, loom in the distance. And Abram would be reminded of what he was preparing to do, to kill his one and only son. And so finally, after 3 days, Abram gets to this place. He gets to this mountain that God has called him to bring Isaac to sacrifice his one and only son. And knowing that this is kind of crazy because Abram brought all these tools, all of these implements to be able to have the sacrifice. He brought wood, he brought the dagger and knife, he brought all these different things, but he didn't bring a sacrifice. He didn't bring an animal. And that would have stuck out. That would have stuck out to the people that were there. It would have stuck out to his servants. It would have stuck out to his son. So as he does this, he takes his son Isaac and he lays the implements for the sacrifice on his son, the wood that would be used for the sacrifice, and goes off away from his servants towards the place of sacrifice. Because, think about this. If Abram's servants knew what sacrifice looked like and what it was going to be about, don't you think that they would think something's a little bit off, something's a little bit weird, that they have all these tools and implements for sacrifice, but no animal to sacrifice? Isaac knew this too. He would have undoubtedly seen this time and time again. So as they set out, and Isaac goes, carrying this wood on his shoulders, he asks his father, "Father, here's all the stuff for the sacrifice, but where is the animal that will be sacrificed? Where is the lamb that will be sacrificed?" And Abram, in an amazing way, displays his faith and trust in God again by saying this: "Don't worry, son. The Lord will provide. The Lord will provide the sacrifice." And so they keep on going. And here's the crazy thing about all of this, is that once they get to the place of sacrifice, Abram ties up Isaac. He binds him up. And then he places his son on top of this wood. Think about that. Think about the amount of faith and trust that Abram had to display in going to kill his son, but also the amount of faith and trust that Isaac, the son, had in his father, to allow his father to do something totally ridiculous and weird, right? He's letting his father tie him up and then lets his father put him on top of the altar. I don't know about you, but if I was in Isaac's position, I might be cool with getting tied up. I might be able to trust my dad with that. But once I got put up on top of the altar, and then I see my dad whip out this dagger, I'm going to be rolling off of that altar. But that's not what Isaac does. Isaac is a willing sacrifice. He trusts his father so much, even to the point of death. And so as he does that, as Abram draws out the knife, he's ready to strike his son, the angel of the Lord appears, and he stays Abram's hand, keeping Abram from plunging his knife into his son's heart. And he says to Abram, don't harm your son. Don't kill him, okay? Just kidding. Don't kill him. Because of your faithfulness, because of your obedience, because of your trust, I will uphold the covenant that I've made with you. That I will bless you through your son Isaac. I will make you a great nation, and through your descendants, through your family line, I will bless the whole world. That's the story of redemption.